starting off, congrats on getting married. Congrats to you and the missus. Awesome. I'm so happy for you. How does it feel?
It's good, man. I mean, my joke, which I look back in hindsight, and it's, I don't know, some not bad guy stuff because it's my now wife, but I used to always say we're Northeast married. Like we've been living together and we've had a dog for 6 years.
Okay. Yep.
So,
That's absolutely married.
The marriage was symbolic of our love, which is very beautiful. But we came back home, same apartment. We've been living together.
Yeah.
She still doesn't understand why there's a pile of clothes next to my spot in the bed, and I don't either. But it just happens. And I'm sorry, babe. I love you.
I get you.
But no, man, I'm stoked. She's the best. And one last thing, ready for baseball.
Yeah, right. All that taken care of during the off season, which I approve of that move as well, doing it during the off season. But we really just got you here today to challenge you guys in blitzball. That's all we really wanted.
Let's go.
That's all we wanted to go.
Hey man, if you guys are out here, let us know. The warehouse is open, and we're starting to. Me and Jimmy had a realization the other day. 33 and 34 that. Our blitzball timeline's not looking great. We got to get some more wins in while we can. So we're open to it.
Well, between that one inning roulette, floor ball, and everything else you guys do in the warehouse games, you guys at Jomboy Media have been broadcasting more sporting events than ESPN, it feels like. So, I mean, I guess the next logical step, Jesse?
Yeah. We're curious. Are you guys planning to step in for Diamond Sports Group and their whole situation? We're wondering if Jomboy Media might be the next big thing, stepping in as a regional sports network, Jake, maybe?
Without my lawyers here, here's what I can say. No.
Right. Damn
it. We do enough in that warehouse, man. My hips are hurting. I'm good.
Yeah. I know we played we played broom ball on ice, and I fell several times, and it was enough for me to realize I'm not a broom ball player for sure. But you guys do keep it fun over there, and we thank you for that. We have a fun time watching you guys. But we also got you here to grill you a bit because
this question is the reason that you're here, Jake.
This is why you're here. We feel a bit betrayed, to be honest.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Yeah. You took the under on 74.5 wins for an up-and-coming Diamondbacks team that won 74 games last year. Explain yourself.
Explain.
So we're going to win 73 on the nose, and that's fine.
No.
Because here's the deal. Young players go through stuff in Major League Baseball. Literally every young player throughout the history of time has something. Mike Trout's first year as a call-up, not good. Aaron Judge's first year as a call-up, not good. Now, I know we have guys with some experience, and man, I keep forgetting about guys, whether it's like a Dre Jameson or, Fott or whoever it is, dude. Like, it's very impressive, the farm system that the Snakes have built up. And the bigger problem is the big bad wolves in our neighborhood that we're going to let fizzle out over the next year and a half or so. And that's when we take over. But, the Dodgers stumble into 100 games. It seems like they won $111 last year. That doesn't just happen. The Padres, Seidler is we started joking on Talking Baseball that there's like a 1% chance this ends as like a bad documentary, like all the money's fake or something. Because what they're doing in San Diego is crazy. And even the Giants, like they have a little bit of Giants voodoo that, I think they're going to be better than 81 wins. So it's less of a shot at the Snakes, who I think the deadline rolls around and we've got young guys balling and figuring it out for some of them. And you trade away a couple, maybe the veterans in the bullpen, maybe Gurriel has a nice little pit stop in Arizona. That if the under hits, and that's why I was so excited when you said how excited you guys are for this baseball season, because it really is, man. You go around the diamond, and there are young guys with potential, and even there's a layer to it with another set of prospects that is really deeper. We just did all the baseball teams and all 30 organizations and, top prospects and who's on the team. And the Diamondbacks, young talent that's about ready to go. There's not a lot of teams that compete with them.
Yeah.
Jake, you got Dodgers or Padres winning the NL West?
I'm Dodgers. They won a 111 last year. They all they do is win in the regular season. And I think the Padres. I think it's a little Philly West. Like, let's just get in the dance and we're gonna do our thing because
Yeah.
their top end talent is so good that I think there's gonna be a point in this season where it's like, oh, the Dodgers are on pace to win 107. We don't really care. Like, let's be healthy and go into the playoffs with our good guys. And the Dodgers, there's something up there, man. Like, they're letting superstars now walk away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
last year, they won 111 after letting Scherzer go. Turner goes this year. I don't know. I think they love their young prospects, and people don't talk about them enough. Vargas, Stone. There's another pitcher there that, just their track record, a couple of those guys are probably going to be really good. So I'll go Dodgers regular season, but I still like the Padres postseason wise, man. They're built for it.
They really are. They really are. And now you talked a bit about the young addition, some of the things the Diamondbacks have done, the young players. But what were your thoughts on the Dalton Varsho trade with the Blue Jays bringing in Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel? Did you like that trade for the Diamondbacks?
So I liked it for the Snakes. I really do. I think Varsho. I mean, he's a short king like myself. I think he's listed. I think he's listed 5'10", and that's one of the biggest lies in baseball.
Yeah,
it absolutely is. It absolutely is.
I'm at this point in my life, I'm 5'7" wearing shoes, and Varsho wasn't too far off. So all that being said, I love him, and he breaks out last year. I'm interested to see this year for him in the AL East, right? He's going to be playing only outfield. They're taking away his catching duties, which should be good for him. But also adjusting to a new division is tough. And I say this with all the love to Dalton Varsho. I think he had like a 109 OPS plus last year, something like that, which is a nice season, right? But also it felt like that was the Blue Jays like, bang, we're getting a lefty for the middle of our lineup. And if Dalton takes a step up, that's going to be perfect and a beautiful fit for them. If he has some learning curves to a different division, which a lot of players do, I don't know if he's the perfect piece they were looking for. I think he was the piece available they were looking for. Well, meanwhile, you get a guy in Moreno, never mind Gurriel, who, by the way, he's got some hitting seasons of his own that could be on. Like, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. could have a better hitting season than Dalton Varsho. And that's not shots fired at anyone. That's just how baseball works.
It's definitely a possibility for sure.
That the fact if they could flip him at the deadline and then you have whatever Moreno turns into, I really liked it value-wise for the Snakes.
Jake, I'm sure you guys have probably already talked about the Corbin Carroll extension on your show. Obviously, really, really big news for us here in Arizona. 8 years, $111 million for a guy who's played 32 big league games and has 115 big league plate appearances. I know everyone in Arizona, though, is stoked and certainly thinks that Corbin Carroll is as deserving of that as anyone who's played in as few games as he has. I mean, he sure has shown quite a bit in that short time. What were your thoughts on that extension?
You love... from a fan perspective, you love that a team's willing to do that. Like that's the first zoom out, zoom in. Like the fact that the Diamondbacks as an organization are willing to give any player that kind of money is a great thing. And like we're talking about with this young core, that's good news going forward, especially with what the Padres are doing and what the Mets are doing. I think we're about to see a next generation of baseball that if you want to compete, you can't just do a full cell rebuild and not add anything to it. I think if you wanna play with the big boys, you're gonna have to spend in some places. So locking up Corbin Carroll, who has a chance to be special. I mean, you love that. Go buy a jersey, go buy a ticket to the game, right? The baseball side of it, I think if you're being honest, you like the way you teed it up. You'd love to see a little more of them, I mean, it was fun as all hell, man. I mean, even the clips of him running the bases are highlights. Yeah. So the fact that you have him locked up, like I said, I'm 33 and the body started going about 2 years ago. You're gonna have his best athleticism years. Where let's see where the hitting lands, which has a chance to be very special. But you're going to have his speed years, which If he gets on base at all, he's a problem. He's going to be able to track down balls. And guess what? In those at-bats he did get, he was really good. So,
Yeah.
and he's a super product. So I love it for them. And hey, if even if he stays on an okay trajectory, it's good value. If he goes on a nut job, good trajectory, it's amazing value, and that's how you end up being able to form something like the Braves have going, which is their version of a dynasty. So, with anything, there's risk, right? Like injuries, whatever it may be. But I think if you're gonna risk it, you risk it for a dude that looks like that on a baseball field.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, you're absolutely right about locking these guys in. The one thing about it for the Diamondbacks is we've seen those guys come and go, and we even saw the general manager Mike Hazen talk the other day about how he's learned from his mistakes where he should have gone right instead of going left. And he obviously, one of those guys was Paul Goldschmidt, and losing him and his production was a big impact. But he kind of described also the impact on the locker room and the clubhouse itself of losing a guy like that. And then he also talked about the adverse effect of signing a guy like Corbin Carroll like this, and the positivity that kind of resonates through the clubhouse a bit after something like this happens. That, there's a lot of young guys in there, and when they see the Diamondbacks taking care of Corbin Carroll, it feels like if they perform well, that's a very strong possibility for them as well.
Right. And that's, we joked, we talked about, we did the Braves team profile and projection today. And we were joking, their basically only decision they have to make is at shortstop, where, by the way, they had a 22-year-old kid who had around an 800 OPS and play some shortstop in Vaughn Grisham, that we were laughing that, hey, if he goes out and he has a good first 2 months, he's going to be looking at the front office like, hey, I'm ready. Yeah. Like, let's talk.
Let's do this.
And like you're saying, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling for a young ball player, where let's look at the other side. I mean, there's guys in Tampa. Tyler Glasnow, he does Rose rotation with Chris Rose, and he basically openly said, he's like, yeah, I know I've got limited time here. Like if I do me, I'm not gonna get the 5-year, $175 million contract. Like they just don't do that. So. So that's weird, man, when you're a young ball player and this is all you know. So to know that's out there, I do think that's important, especially with the young core we just talked about, and knowing if you're Alec Thomas, if you're whoever, if you do it the right way, this could be home. And stuff like this does matter to athletes. Like Phoenix, that's a pretty cool up-and-coming city, man. Like, you can do it right there being a star athlete. So that matters.
Unfortunately for the D-backs, I don't know if Zac Gallen is necessarily next in line as far as an extension is concerned. His agent, of course, is one Scott Boras, and we all know how that tends to go when it's all said and done. But Jake, I'm curious. Zac Gallen last year, 5th in Cy Young voting. He had the 44 and a third inning scoreless streak. Pretty incredible stuff down the stretch. He told us at the beginning of the offseason that the Baseball Writers Association of America folks who did not have him on their ballot, which there were, I believe, 10 of those people. He told us he has a list of those people. He knows who those people are. But Jake, I'm curious, where is Zac Gallen for you in terms of starting pitcher ranks? Is he a true ace? Is he up there with the DeGrom, the Verlanders, the Scherzers, those guys, or is he still kind of getting there?
And based on what Jesse just told you, keep that in mind that he holds grudges.
Yeah, he might have you on the list too, but depending on your answer.
Here's what I'll say. I think this year he can bona fide case closed. It's done. Like, I am a 1. Like, throw me out there for that big game. I think he probably already can do that. He had the one kind of hiccup season, if you call it that. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. It's with pitchers. It's the lamest comparison, but it's how my simple brain works. They're ice cream flavors, man. Like, there's so many good pitchers around baseball. It's just whatever you like at this point. Like I did, I do Wake and Jake, just a twice a week sports show, and I did best young pitchers in baseball because I thought it was interesting that there's a lot of guys that are age 27. Alcantara is 27. Zac Gallen is 27. There's kind of this batch of Jack Flaherty. Like, the last group of young pitchers kind of grew up, and I wanted to see who was next. And, man, there's a lot of dudes. Zac Gallen, he's one of them. So he's elite. I do think him not pitching in games that have mattered down the stretch, people are going to hold that against him. I mean, how do you pick between a Logan Webb and a Zac Gallen? Right. I think a lot of D-backs fans would come to the table and say, Zac Gallen, he's my guy.
Sure.
Like, I watch him, he's nasty. Yeah. Guess what Giants fans are going to say? Like, right. And Logan Webb, he's done it on some big stages too, and back-to-back years. So, hey, Gallen's a stud, like you said. Maybe he puts me with the names. I don't think he has to. I mean, he is on a path, like you mentioned, Scott Boras and everything he does on a baseball field. He's his next contract will confirm that he's an ace. How about that?
There you go. Yeah. And he also has the developers from MLB The Show 2023 on his list as well. But we do have Merrill Kelly going tonight for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. What are your thoughts on the World Baseball Classic and how fun this year's tournament has been with all of these big superstars participating in it?
So I've been enjoying it. I'll be honest. We filmed Blitzball Battle 3 last week, and we had a lot of people in town for that. So we were doing that. Some of the World Baseball Classic games in the background, and then we usually catch the night games. I was getting to watch Team Australia with Peter Moylan, which was awesome because he coached half the guys literally like 6 weeks ago. He coached the Melbourne Aces, which half the guys were on that team over the winter. So he was like, when Romo first came out and he was calling plays, and everyone was like, how does Tony Romo know the plays? It was kind of like that. Like, he predicted a pickoff. He predicted a double play. It was just that was a wild experience for me. The USA games, I will play the old card a little bit. I got excited for the first game. East Coast time, it was 10 p.m. on Sunday. That's a sacred time for a lot of people. Yeah. So I'll be honest. Like, I watched the first inning, and I was like, they might figure it out. They didn't. And everyone was freaking out. And then right now, they got the DR Puerto Rico, which I think that's about to take the tournament to the next level.
Yes.
I'm excited to get there because it's also with the World Baseball Classic, everyone has the little stuff they like. Like, there was a guy from the Czech Republic that struck out Ohtani. Like, that hits a chord for some people. For me, the kid from Nicaragua that struck out Machado, Soto, and Devers, and then he got signed, like, that's unreal, man. That's that guy's life. And now he's a part of the Tigers org. So that's the stuff that gets it for me. That now I feel like we're checking that box of the tournament. Yeah. And now we're going to the real stuff, right? Yeah. Like, now it's, hey, whoever's coming over to these final games, like, you want to win. And I'm excited for that because up until this point, like, when the U.S. lost the first game and everyone was freaking out, I was kind of like, I get it. Everyone can finish 3-1 and the run differential is not good, but we're also playing baseball, people. Like, I bet that's not how it plays out.
Yeah.
Next day, it was gone. So I'm excited to watch DR tonight, and then I think the rest of the games the rest of the way are going to be pretty electric.
There's like 3 plots for great movies already in this tournament. It feels like, right, between the Czech Republic, the pitcher from Nicaragua, like all sorts of great stuff. But we did want to get your thoughts on the best and worst World Baseball Classic uniforms. I think I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but we had some thoughts on Great Britain's uniform, obviously.
So, you guys are in the T-shirt game. We do some T-shirts over here as well.
Yeah, you guys got some good stuff.
And it's been a joke for a while that, like, fonts and design, my brain just doesn't see it. Like, sometimes our graphic designer will send me 6 logos that are slightly different. And he'll say, which one do you like? And I'm like, what? Like, no, like,
there's 6 of the same thing. What is it? What are you doing?
When I saw the Great Britain jersey, I could not be more disappointed. Like, the fact that I can see it and it got to that point that it's on the field, like, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's like a first draft, you know?
It's not even. Like
It's not
that's
even.
like the that's going into Instagram stories and like making a jersey and like being like, oh, here's Great Britain. So that was that was unreal to me. It's always bias in sports that somehow that baby blue looks good. That Mexico busted out the baby blue, and that was like, whoa,
yeah.
I don't know the color on the flag rules there, but either way, that's a sick jersey. So
They also had they had some warm-ups that were incredible too. The Team Mexico, like matching warm-ups and stuff. Yeah, it was just fire attire all around. We saw your picture, by the way, with the with the base what was it? Big League Chew outfit today. So loving that. Loving the Big League Chew stuff for sure.
Last thing from me, Jake. You talked about before how some of these games are kind of escalating, and as we move into the quarterfinals and so on, things are just going to get more and more exciting. What do you think is the ceiling for the World Baseball Classic as far as like how big of a spectacle can this be around the world? I mean, I don't know about like World Cup status. Like that might be a little out there. The timing of it is really weird happening right now during spring training. And a lot of pitchers in particular don't really want to participate for good reasons. But where do you see this going? Like, could Major League Baseball really turn this into something that is somewhat like the World Cup someday?
I think it's gotten to a good place. I think it's cool that we're playing games all over the world. We got a lot of stars in there. Like, I'll be honest, there is half of my fandom does go to the Yankees. That like Aaron Judge after breaking the home run record, because all of these international tournaments outside of the World Cup that's been doing it for a while, the copy and paste is the dream team from the USA. Like when that team went over to Europe, like now look at how many European basketball players are coming over. I mean, it's unreal. When you look at some of the best players in the NBA, that the fact we got there, if you told people that in 92, they would have laughed at you, right? Like if you described Giannis or Jokic like in 92, people would have been like, no, that doesn't even exist. So that's where I'm excited in some of these countries that aren't playing a lot of baseball. Like, guess what? In 20 years, I bet there's a Great Britain ball player and a Czech ball player. And that part of it's really cool. And I wish that all the stars could do it. And I think the only way it would get there is if they did it in the middle of the season, because that's where soccer thrives. All these guys are conditioned. And, look at Team USA staff right now. No shots fired at our guy Merrill, but I think if we did a video game fantasy draft of the United States pitchers, he might have been a sub. He might have been a sub in for a Cole or a Rodon or whoever it may be. So
you're absolutely right.
I think for what the current sandbox we're playing in, that it's going to be before the season every 4 years. I think it's in a great place. If we really wanted to go to a next level, you would open up a chunk of the regular season, and I just don't see the powers vested in us doing that, which is fine. And hey, I mean, whose regular season I'm basing it off of MLB's regular season. Should we be basing that off of one of the Japanese leagues or something like that? I don't know. So that's where it gets a little convoluted, but I think it's in a really good place. There is a next level. I don't think it'll get there, and that's okay. But I'd be open to it if we could really talk about it.
Yeah, I love that idea, and I think that's something that we heard Max Scherzer say, maybe like an all-star break or something like that. But hey, man, we appreciate you so much for coming on. We thank you. We're still not okay with the under prediction, but we still love you.
Yeah.
How about this? I hope I'm wrong. I hope the boys ball out. I'll eat it. Hey, I thought the Orioles last year were gonna struggle to get to 60, and they won 80 something.
Yeah.
So you know what, man? That's the beauty of the sport, right? Like,
really is.
If Gallen and the rest of that rotation goes, and some of the guys, I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
And I will say this, because I've now cooked the books with my somewhat Snakes fandom.
Okay.
That when the ratings came out, the Diamondbacks were at 19 or 20, and the Red Sox were behind them, and everyone was pissed at me, and I was like, oh man. And then when the comments came out, there was a lot of people who weren't Diamondbacks fans, just baseball fans, that they crunched the numbers on all that young talent, and they were like, this could be a sneaky team. So
Yeah.
I think that's a credit to what's going on. And I got to check out my schedule, but I think I might be able to make it out to a game in August this year. I think I think they play the Padres one weekend. So if I do that, I got to link up with you guys.
You absolutely do. We'll get you in
and
here.
Hopefully, I'm pretty friendly with them. If I could work in a first pitch or maybe a last pitch or something, I'd be down with that.
Hey, we're looking for a closer still. You know that. So I mean, let's just put it out there.
You've seen the blitz ball, man. You've seen the blitz ball. I can trick them.
I love it. Well, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, thank you, guys.